Okay, we're going to start with the nation. ECOWAS forced to battle terrorism in Nigeria and others. 2024 oil bid round for only investors with technical know-how, says local Buhari. Rivers APC directs lawmakers to impeach Fubara. Oil firms to inject 50% export proceeds into forex market. NNPCL cautions against panic buying of petrol. Relocate people from flood-prone areas, NEMA tells 33 governors. Olubadan, coast clear for Olakuleyin. UBA consolidates with 110% gross earnings growth. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Can talk about the flood. Okay. Those living on flood-prone communities should start relocating now, according to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. And, they've given the advice. They said they're also calling for the monitoring of dams, clearing of debris in the water bodies by relevant authorities to prevent blockages and the creation of detention dams. Now, according to the predictions and the outlook released by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, they said 33 states will be pounded by flood this year. They listed 25 of the 33 states and 72 local government areas with heightened vulnerability to flooding between last month and the next month. The vulnerability, according to them, said will persist from July to September and affect all the 33 states and 135 local government areas that were identified as high-risk areas. Now, between October and November, 19 states and 44 council areas will be affected by the flood as well. So, Mrs. Zubaida Umar, that's NEMA's Director General, was calling for proper sensitization campaigns in communities that would be affected. It's proper that people understand what is they tend to have from the flood, and also make arrangements to relocate if they have places that they need to go to. This is also a call to state governments to, if your name is mentioned among the people that will be expecting high flood, find a way to relocate your people for the meantime, and they can always come back afterwards.
Okay, so I'm excited about this story. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, local Heineken, local said yesterday that the era of giving oil blocks to politicians is over. He said the 17 oil blocks, if you recall, I think it was last we saw in the papers that 17 oil blocks are up for bidding. Said that they said the 17 oil blocks for sale under the 2024 bidding round are for investors with financial capacity and technical competence. Local said that the reason why 90% of the fields that have been given to politicians is because they don't have the technical know-how. Now, many of them are coming back for renewal. He said that time where we're giving to politicians is over. We're only giving to companies who are competent, who have the technical know-how, and have the financial capacity, capability to ensure that the government is able to generate the required revenue from those oil blocks. So we have noticed a lot of idle blocks and little or no investment done on them in the last 3 years of acquisition. I can tell you that 90% of owners of these blocks are seeking for renewal without commencing or investing in them. So these are politicians, and they're no more given to politicians, giving it to people who have the capability to do it.
So the CBN banks were thrown into confusion on the 1st of May because people were bringing in the charges that the CBN had agreed that they would be charging on deposits. But the CBN has released a circular. The charges, if you make a deposit, would still be extended till the 3rd quarter of this year. So from now till September, you can deposit your money in the bank. What usually would have been obtainable would be 2% would be taken off 500,000 naira if you were deposited as an individual, and if you're a corporate entity and you deposit above 3 million naira, you would have had to pay 2% charges. And some banks started charging that on the 1st of May. But the circular has come out to say from Mr. Adetono Adedeji, the Director of Banking Supervision, that the suspension that was implemented as of December last year will continue. It will extend up until 30th of September this year. So this should be good news for those who are already worried about other bank charges. And I wish we could just preempt it. If we're going to extend till December, let's just extend it from now till December and focus on other policies that will have quick impact on the lives of Nigerians.
Okay, so we have Nigeria and other West African countries battling terrorism receive support from a standby force to be formed by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. It unveiled plans yesterday to raise $2.4 billion for the establishment of the standby force. ECOWAS Commissioner in charge of political affairs, Peace and Security Ambassador Abdel Fattah Musa broke the news yesterday. He said that we are faced with nightmare of having one of our member states being completely occupied by terrorist groups. He commended Nigeria for not letting, for degrading Boko Haram terrorists and not letting them take roots in Nigeria, and also that they really tried in establishing peace and security so far in Nigeria. He also stated that Mali, they also had a training, capacity and research development of the ECOWAS standby force and general peace and security within the sub-regions of 3 countries. They had Ghana, which Nigeria, Ghana, and Mali was part of, but Mali was obviously absent. And it was being said that maybe Mali was absent because they are part of the country that decided to withdraw from ECOWAS recently. So basically,
it was because of the Burkina Faso being totally ravaged by terrorism.
Yes.
Okay, moving on quickly now to the Punch. FG rubbishes Binance CEO's bribery allegation. FG woos global investors for 17 oil blocks. Abduction angers FIG reporter spent 7th day in police cell. Warnings of anarchy as APC demands Fubara's removal. Picture story here. Porn star testifies against Trump at hush money trial. Cyber Security Levy will worsen hardship, says Labour. Bullying. Police launch probe as Ekiti expels female students. And Ladoja withdraws lawsuit, clears path for Olubadan enthronement. Okay, so for those of you following international news, the porn star at the heart of the Donald Trump's historic criminal trial, her name was Stormy Daniels, testified on Tuesday about an alleged 2006 sexual encounter with the former president in a hotel penthouse suite. Trump, 77, is accused of falsifying business records to reimburse his lawyer, Michael Cohen, for $130,000 hush money made to Daniels on the eve of his 2016 election against Hillary Clinton, when the lurid story of the maritime infidelity could have sunk his campaign. So it was hush money, keep quiet, so don't go out and don't publish this. So the people called Stormy Daniels as Trump, who is seeking to recapture the White House in November, sat at the defense table in the Manhattan courtroom flanked by his lawyers. It was just good to hear her testify against Trump.
It's just interesting to see somebody a trial against a former president.
Yeah, so
the porn star.
One more story before we go on a break.
Let me see if we have that time. No, yesterday.
Yes, so the federal government on Tuesday vowed to pursue the criminal case against the crypto platform Binance and its officials to a logical end. They spoke because there was a backdrop of bribery allegation made by the Binance Chief Executive Officer Richard Teng in a blog post published by New York Times. Top officials of the president described the allegation as false, saying that's unfounded. The accusation that some individuals demanded $150 million bribe in cryptocurrency to settle the criminal charge against the firm. So we know how the story has been brewing, how one of the Binance guys had escaped from, custody, and the second one was taken to Kuje prison, and they had said they will continue the case. It was supposed to be last Thursday, but now they have postponed it until May. Now, one of their executives had written that they got a call and said that they had to pay $150 million in cryptocurrency as bribe to kill the case. And so he wrote papers on that one, but the federal government is saying nothing like that happened. They're going to see this case to a logical end. The federal government is also hopeful that they have good evidence to nail them. They also have an opportunity to help them defend themselves according to the rule of law. So let's just see how this case pans out.
Go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Still reviewing Punch. Amaka?
All right. Nigeria Labour Congress, Trade Union Congress, and bank customers have opposed the newly introduced Cyber Security Levy by the Central Bank of Nigeria, demanding its immediate withdrawal. The NLC on Tuesday, in a statement signed by its president, Joe Ajaero, lamented that the levy, which was 0.005% cyber security levy on electronic transfers, was another anti-people policy of the government imposed amid economic hardship. Serap also gives Tinubu 48 hours to withdraw CBN directives on cyber security charges, saying that it is against the African Charter and Human and People's Rights International Convent on Civil and Political Rights, to which Nigeria is a state party. And they also called for the amendment of Section 44 of the Cyber Crimes Act of 2024. The levy so far would be, for a transaction of 1,000 naira, they will charge you 50 naira. For a transaction of 10,000, you'll be charged 500. For 100,000, 5,000. For 1 million, 50,000. No, for 1 million, 5,000. For 10 million, 50,000. SERAP called that such charges against customers would dissuade customers from bringing their money to the banks anymore or from bank transactions, and that in the current hardship going on in the economy, they shouldn't impose more charges on people, that they are giving the president 48 hours to make sure that these charges are withdrawn.
Okay, so I want to take the story about the FIJ. So the Foundation for Investigative Journalism and activists, media stakeholders, other Nigerians have expressed anger over the prolonged detention of Daniel Ojukwu, who is a reporter. He was taken away by police in a Gestapo manner on the 1st of May, 2024, over allegations that a petition was written against him. They said the police force, the director of Nigerian Police Force National Cyber Crime Center, Uche Ifeanyi, on Tuesday said the reason he hasn't been released on bail because the bail condition hasn't been met. But the activists have been protesting. The reason he's being detained in the first place was because he was investigating a particular story, and that the story involves the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development, and that the petition was alleging that an amount called 147 million naira was, which is meant for building schools, was deposited into a restaurant's account, and that when this particular reporter released that information was when a petition was written against him for a cyber crime, maybe based on his investigative journalism report, and he's been arrested, and his bail conditions are stiff, which is why it hasn't been met. Of course, the office of the OSSAP SDG has denied the allegation as false, and that they are not in any way involved, that their processes have been transparent. But the human rights activist and former presidential candidate Showore on Tuesday said he met Daniel on Monday at the FCCID in Abuja and found that he was being detained by some high-ranking, very influential people in the political class.
Okay, Daily Sun.
Justice.
Fubara risks impeachment as APC woos lawmakers. Killings, reps mandate Chief of Army Staff, IGP, to beef up security in Uzo-Awani. Asari Toru people thank Tinubu, Wike, for George Kelly's appointment. SERAP gives Tinubu 48 hours to withdraw CBN directive on Cyber Security Levy charges. Gunmen kill 3 in Edo, kidnap 13 in Abuja community. UTME, JAMB alerts candidates on activities of fraudsters, mischief makers. Akpabio picks holes in renaming of prison to correctional centers. And Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, real component to GOP, $11.174 billion. Okay, let me start with what's going on in Enugu State. If you recall, the killings and incessant killings and kidnappings in that Nimbo, Upanda, Ugboli, and in Uzo-Uwani local government area of Enugu State has been happening for a while. And because of this, the House of Representatives has directed and mandated the Chief of Army Staff, that's Taurid Lagbaja, and the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, as well as the National Security Advisor, NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, to deploy more security personnel to Uzo-Uwani local government area of Enugu State, following all the attacks going on in that area. Many of them actually are saying that the terrorists, they are having a field day, killing people, opening fire on innocent lives, women, children, the whole community, killing them, especially when there's a local government. So they say that we need more security personnel in that area. Another lawmaker from Borno State, I can't get his name, Ahmad Jahab, said that there was no need for the country to tackle security if they can't even get help from other people. So he's actually advising that we should get mercenaries from other countries to come and help security operatives in that area. Because according to him, Jonathan tried it, and he was actually almost successful until Buhari came in and stopped the entire mercenary process. That's something that we can reconsider to support the Nigerian security within that area.
And also ensure we use whatever is working. So no need of cancelling and stopping because you're no longer in power. Yeah. So the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has raised the alarm about activities of internet fraudsters and mischief makers who are out to deceive, mislead, and defraud gullible candidates that participated in the 2024 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. And so they are giving the advice that candidates must protect their registration details. They should not disclose any sensitive information to any person who might end up using them for fraudulent purposes. They also said that the attitude of the mischief makers will only help JAMB to further tighten the process of checking their UTME results to make it more personalized and make it more stringent so that it's simple and straightforward and no other person would be able to get a hold of it and use it for fraudulent purposes. So he said they are also thinking about adding new features such as registration number to the existing UTME result checking process going forward to make it extra difficult for anybody to edit it. He said so far, none of their processes have been compromised. They will continue to protect the integrity of their systems against such malicious people who are hell-bent on creating confusion in the system, but they have not been compromised yet. However, they saw a release of a publication that a candidate who did not even sit for the examination had his results published. Also, they saw another one where they published that about 531 people had an additional result that was released. So JAMB is saying that we've not released the additional one. We're still looking through to be sure that the result is good before we release it. And, they are going to do everything in their power to make sure that they make it very tight. Now, you may have to use your own numbers, registration numbers, to get your result. The only way you can get your result, said the current result now is not even on the website yet. The only way you can get it is by sending that UTME result to 55019 or 66019. That's the only way you can have access to your results. Yes, exactly.
The original one.
It's a lot of work.
Yes, I want to take the story of the Olubado. So we know that the Olubado stool has been vacant for a while. And the reason for that is even though they had brought up the nomination, the council of the Ibadan stool, I don't want to miss, Olubado in council had already brought up the name of Olakuleyin to be the new Olubado. They couldn't implement that even though they had sent their recommendations to the governor of your state. The governor didn't attest to that recommendation because there were pending cases that they need to meet and resolve all pending cases. Every case is out of court before he can then approve for the new Olubado, the 43rd Olubado nominated. So, and this case was brought up by Senator Rashidi Ladoja, the Otun Olubado of Ibadan and the former governor of Oyo State. He has withdrawn the case. He said the reason he put up the case was because he felt the Olubado in council, all of them had they're against him becoming the Olubado when his own time comes, and he wants to be able to ascend that throne. That was why he started the case. But now he has done a meeting with everybody, and all of them have signed an agreement to settle out of court, and now the path has been cleared for the new 43rd Olubado, if approved by the governor of Oyo State, to be to take the stool of his forefathers. They said everything was done in according to them, the Olubado chieftaincy declaration in 1957, and there's no need for any out-of-court settlement because they followed the rule of their own integrated system within Ibadan. I'm so happy. I wish all other stools can just have the declaration that there's no controversy. We know who will become the next person.
Vanguard, popular, the new masquerade actress, Valeria, dies at 81. Impeach Fubara now, Rivers APC 27 Assembly members.
81.
President Tinubu's first year in office, propelling Nigeria towards renewal, says Mohammed Idris, Information Minister. Controversy trails CBN Cyber Security Levy on electronic transactions. FG removes signature bonus to who investors. And Tinubu returns today from presidency. States presidency. So the president has announced, the presidency has announced that the president will return from Europe today. If you recall, he had an appointment with in Netherlands to meet with the Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte over 2 weeks ago, where he then moved on to Saudi Arabia to attend the World Economic Forum. So then after that, there were speculations that where did he go? We didn't see him. Where is he? In France? Is he in UK?
Did he disappear?
Did he disappear? We're seeing also of this one. The presidency has said that he'll be back today, so they're expecting the president. Another story in Vanguard, moving on quickly to Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story of not taking helicopter operations, aviation ministry at loggerheads over landing charges. No more justification for stopping 35,000 naira wage award, says Labour. Proceed with Fubara's impeachment, Rivers APC tells lawmakers. Gunmen abduct 13 Abuja community, demand 900 million naira ransom. And NNPC, we have over 1.5 billion liters of petrol that would last over 30 days.
Yes,
Okay.
so you want to take the last story?
Okay.
Okay. So the organized labor says there's no moral justification for the federal government to stop the payment of monthly 35,000 naira wage award to workers. You know, we've had that conversation, and initially they said they were going to be paying it for 6 months. They later moved it till they are able to renegotiate the new minimum wage. So Mr. Etim Okon, the president of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, said, you know, in an interview that it's worrisome that workers are yet to receive their monthly wage awards for March and April. And there's a misinformation going around that the 35,000 naira wage award was only for 6 months. And so he's making it clear that that wage award, according to what they had signed October 2nd, 2023, in the Memorandum of Understanding, is that they will continue to pay till the new minimum wage is going to be implemented. And there's no moral justification for them to stop the payments. So the government needs to pay the outstanding March and April salaries, understanding that a lot of people are still going through hard times as a result of the removal of the fuel subsidy and other things that we are paying for now.
I wanted to take the NNPC story because...
Okay, yes. Trouble is looming in the country's aviation sector as indications that emerge that helicopter operators are resisting the federal government's directive that they commence the payment of landing levies to its concessionary, Messrs. Dynamic Concepts Limited. They're also trying to call in, they're also saying that the charges are too much and that this might enable them withdraw their aircrafts. But the federal government, it's also saying that this enables them monitor helicopters' activities closely, improve security and address the issue of unknown helicopters operating within the Nigerian space.
Okay. We have to wrap up now. I think that's all we can take on Front Page Review.